Hello and welcome to Kim on Skin. No, I'm not naked. I have a top. I just realised as I pressed play, I was like, yeah, that's gonna look a bit different. Okay, so today I really wanted to talk about one of my pretty much commonly asked question. It is the most commonly asked question back on my Instagram page. I probably get this question like once a day from people that get in touch, more than likely have just skin pick, and of course I'm extremely grateful that people would take the time to get in touch with me and ask, but yeah, so this video hopefully can kind of help talk a little bit more about that, how to manage my dermatillomania. So I get a lot of questions like, have you got any tips to help me stop my dermatillomania or fix my skin? Can you please help me stop what I'm doing? I feel like I'm going crazy. Any tips can be of huge help. So number one, take a step back. Okay, take a step back. All of this pressure, extremely high, especially if you've just skin picked and you're like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I done? Oh my god, I look like a pizza with all the toppings right now. That's okay. Just release that pressure. Just let that pressure go, because all you're doing is feeding into it more when you keep that pressure there. So just kind of release that. And what I like to say is allow yourself. Now the mind is very subjective, so you got to be careful about the words that you say to yourself. That's like when you say, I need to stop skin picking, do not skin pick, leave your skin alone, I can't skin pick, it's going to make it worse, oh my god, I'm so stupid, why do I keep doing this? The thing is, our subconscious is pretty subjective, so when we're saying, do not skin pick, our mind is not like, oh, do not skin pick, okay, I won't. It'll be like, skin pick? And that's why it comes in, always, every day we find ourselves doing it, because when we say, don't do this, don't skin pick, what we're doing is just putting skin picking into our heads. And that is why we find ourselves doing it more often. Especially when we got that added pressure that we put on ourselves, that anxiety to not do it. It's like when you don't want to do something, it makes you want to do it more, etc. So what I like to say is just allow yourself. So if it happens, understand that this is a process. This has been possibly your safe place for a long time. It's been my safe place for 13 out of 14 years, or pretty much nearly 14 years. However, I have now rebuilt a relationship with my dermatillomania, with myself, and this road of my derma journey, like I like to call it, this self-discovery, has been by far the best thing I've ever done for myself. But it all starts with allowing, so just allow it to happen. Number two, keep a diary, okay? Because it's really important if you're actually wanting to make some positive steps, to get to know the triggers. Like, where has it come from? Have you got certain patterns, some environments that you may find you pick more? I remember when I used to work in this job that I hated, and it was really affecting me more than I cared to admit for myself. And when I would be in certain parts, like if I used to stand by the printer, or if it got to about 3 p.m, so I had that sugar crash after lunch and I would go to the toilet, these would be like my high times. This is when the urge would be like, because my subconscious was kind of ready. It was like, well, I know what's gonna happen, you know what's gonna happen, we have a pattern here, so you go to the bathroom and then I'll get ready and I'll just let those urges no, and then I'd go to town, and then after that I'd be like, oh, why have I done it again? So yeah, understand the triggers, keep a little diary. You can even write it in a journal, or there's a good app called Skinpick app. You can go to skinpick.com, they have an app. I think it did help me to an extent. It was there are some very interesting parts about that app because it allows you to really get a good understanding by documenting it very specifically. So you can go into obviously where you are, what times you picked, what areas you picked, and what you were thinking about. And over time, say if you were doing it for a month, you'd start to realize you know, the depth of the pattern taking place, because before all it kind of turns into is just like a big ball of picking, and you're like, well, I don't know, I just pick all the time. Yeah, okay, but if you were to just like take it all back and unpeel those onion layers, did I say unpeel? No, peel those onion layers, then you'll be able to see the motivators, the parts in your day, or maybe who you're around, what you're thinking about, and so that you can hopefully kind of step away from them if you can. Bring me on to the third step, which would be identifying those triggers. So once you understand it and you have that journal in front of you and you've got like all these answers, like, okay, that this time I picked, so say for me it would have been when I went to the printer at 3 p.m. and I knew that I was on my own. This room, it had bright lighting, and I knew that I was on my own for about couple minutes. I could, you know, kind of do like a little mini picking sesh, and it would usually be like areas that I could see very close up. So I'd be like with this, or I'd kind of like do like this. I'd kind of feel around at my desk, kind of ready of where I was going to go next as soon as I could get to the printer room. By going with what you know, you can then hopefully change those patterns by saying, like, just by eliminating them really, by saying, okay, I understand and I identify these triggers, now what? So now it's kind of up to you to decide on what needs to change in order for you to feel better. So for example, in my case, I realized that my job was a huge weight, and that was definitely making me pick a hell of a lot more because I didn't want to go there every day, and because I had to, I was like, oh. So and especially like if you're sitting there all day, apparently you work like a third of your life, ew, and you know, if you don't like what you're doing, then you're just kind of absorbing all of it, all of these thoughts in your head, like, I don't want to be here, and especially if you're feeling very on edge and anxious like I was, all of that was just kind of being parked in my mind. So, you know, on the outside I didn't want anyone to know that, but I kept it parked in my head until I could get home, and then I would go crazy with the picking. So what I had to do was eventually say, you know what, I have to leave this job, and that's exactly what I did. In like October time, I was like, you know what, I've weighed the pros and cons on a piece of paper, and it's not worth it. And I am very lucky to be able to have been in that position that I could have left that job. I understand that not everyone's going to be in that position, and so that's something that, you know, everybody's got to take into account. Take their own personal situation and circumstance into account and be like, right, what needs to change? Because if it is a job, for example, can it be a case of that you can move, or maybe you can start a side hustle if you have something that you wanted to do but you've never really got around to it. Maybe now is the time. There's never going to be a better time. Just get started on a side hustle, or maybe it could be that you could go back to school or even part-time learning towards something like a career that you do want. Is understanding the 5 steps. So I talk about that on my Instagram page. I've got an IGTV video on the 5 steps, but I'll briefly talk about it here. And basically what it is a kind of indicator of what happens and why I think it's a good idea to just allow it and let it go, and just to observe it better rather than fight it, because all you're going to do is just kind of keep the steps going and keep building momentum in the negative sense. So basically 5 steps. Step 1, skin picking. Step 2, feeling really bad after skin picking, and like, you know, kind of feeling really shitty, you don't want to see anyone, your anxiety's high, you feel ashamed, embarrassed, obviously low, because you're like, why am I keep doing this? Like, this is driving me insane. And you know, just kind of hating on yourself, like, oh my god, why can't I be normal? So that is step 2, and that's always a really sucky step. I hate that step. And then step 3 is deciding, okay, you know what, I've done that now, that's fine. I'm going to let it heal. And so say you've got like an occasion to go to, and I know how it goes because we can manipulate it very well when we know we have to have our skin out. So say you've got an occasion, yeah, you've got a wedding to go to, or you know that you're going to the beach with your friends later, whatever it is, and you're going to be like, right, okay, I pick now, but I have a week to sort this situation out. And that is when you totally stop picking and you up your self-care and you're like lashing all these layers, 10-step Korean skincare onto your entire body, and you start to see some positive results, and you're like, yes, redness has went down, scabs have gone, I think I've done a pretty nifty job, and I think I'm all right to go to the beach or go to the wedding and no one will suspect a thing. And then it takes you on to step 4, where you know, you've got there, you've done what you wanted to do, you're feeling great, and you're like, yes, my skin is awesome, so proud of myself, I feel up there, I am totally loving life, I am uber confident, check me out on my new skin, this is the new me, this is the new me, and I ain't changing it, don't even think that I'm gonna skin pick, hell no, that is old me. That takes me on to step 5, which is going back to step 1. And that is how it goes, because we get comfortable, but not too comfortable, because this whole comfort of having nice skin on your face and your body, and you're like, yeah, we are not used to it on a permanent way, yeah, we're used to it in a temporary, and we're like, oh, this is nice, yeah, I feel good, I feel confident, I feel really nice and happy with myself, my anxiety is low, and yeah, and then we start to think, oh, hang on, this isn't normal, well, but I don't know how to be like this on a regular, but I'm an anxious person, but what if things go wrong? And before you know it, everywhere, pick. Total pick session, especially if you've got prize mentality, which is as soon as you've went to the beach and you're like, yes, I did that, perfect. I waited a week to do it, that's awesome. I'm feeling great. And then as soon as you get home, you pick for each of those days that you missed, because it is in your mind like a prize. Yes, I did it, I got there, woohoo, yeah, trophy. And the trophy is going back to your safe place and your way to unwind, your way of feeling satisfied, which is skin picking, let's be honest. So that's kind of how it is. And the thing is, like, if we thought that we could just stay on step 4 forever, it would be very unrealistic. It would be very unrealistic, and that's why I think instead of focusing so hard on staying on step 4, which is, you know, once you've allowed your skin to heal, then staying there forever, which is unrealistic, I think we instead should allow ourselves to just simply observe this process taking place, and instead focusing on, if you can, bring down step 2, which is feeling really crap and really low, and eventually just remove it altogether, because I know it can work. All you've got to do is just allow. And that pressure that you put on yourself, I know it's normal right now, but it doesn't have to be normal forever. You can learn to ease up on yourself and just allow, okay? Because it's a journey. It's not going to be something that you're going to one day think, oh, you know what, I'm not going to skip pick anymore. Yeah, no, it doesn't really work that way. And that's why we have to just kind of observe, step back and observe it for what it is, which is something that we've learned. It's become a safe place, it's become our way of procrastinating, or even when we're bored, especially if we're low, anxiety high, if we're overthinking, we kind of see it as a way of zoning out, when in fact, if you step back and observe it, you'll notice when you pick, your mind is going blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had so many imaginary conversations with someone. Like, you know, if I was kind of annoyed at someone and I'm skin picking as a way to wind down, in my head I'm having like imaginary scenarios. I always win in these scenarios, obviously, because in my imaginary scenarios I am the best arguer. Anyway, not the point. Takes me on to step 5. Which is meditate. If you have not already done so, get on it, yeah, because it is going to be a lifesaver. It's going to be a total game changer for your skin picking. What you want to do with it is prioritize it, because it is going to create a new safe place for you. Right now, skin picking has been your safe place. And so when you look into, you know, habit reversal, like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or you're trying any other methods such as an alarm when you're in the bathroom, or lights being lower, or hiding mirrors, or getting rid of, I don't know, tweezers and any other kind of utensils that can help, eventually you're probably going to go back to skin picking, and you're going to be like, why is nothing working? It's because it's your safe place. And if you're saying to yourself, no, you can't go to what you go to make yourself feel better, but I haven't really yet created something for you to feel better instead with, so you just kind of have to hang there. That's not realistic. So what we need to do is create a new safe place, and that is where meditation comes in. Because the next time, over time, when you're meditating and when you prioritize it, so say even like 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, you know, a commute and back to work or school, you can do it. 20 minutes a day, you can do it. When you do it consistently, you will start to notice the urges, and instead of going straight into automatic action, you can step back and observe them, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it, I understand, okay. So this has come on because of this. Did it come on because of a thought or a feeling? Okay, was it negative or positive? You can break it down, yeah, and then you get to a little crossroads where you're like, right, I can either go left or I can go right. And do I want to go through meditating, or do I want to go through skin picking? Right, I have the urges here. I can go one way or the other. One way helps me, either way helps me for a moment unwind and detach from this feeling or thought that's quite intense. However, I know that one of them makes me feel really bad, and it also causes harm to my skin. So I'm going to go through meditation instead, down that route. And then after, you start to realize every time these urges come about, you're like, oh, I need to meditate. And that's when you go. And that is progress, because you realize, oh my God, I could have so skin picked them, but I knew instead that I had to go meditate. And then you meditate and you're like, yes. And you look at your skin, you're like, yes, still going good. And that is progress. And it can help, it can. I know there's many of you that may watch it and you're like, yeah, I have tried meditating, but it didn't really do anything. Don't know how I feel about that. Look, you probably weren't ready to give up skin picking. And when I say give up, you're not really giving up, but managing it. You probably, in the back of your mind, there was a part of you that thought, no, I'm still not ready to give it up. And I'm scared for a new normal because I don't know it, because it's uncomfortable for me. So I'm going to try this meditation, but I'm not actually going to give it my all, because ultimately it's a new normal and I'm not comfortable yet. So meditate. Yeah, dermatillomania is not huge. It's not like hugely known, but skin picking is huge. Dermatillomania is massive, but the awareness is not massive just yet, but that's getting bigger, and that's very, very exciting. So what we can do is, you know, all group together, understand that dermatillomania is part of a bodily focused repetitive behavior, and there are many of those, as well as, including, as you'll probably know, trichotillomania, which is hair pulling. It's a very well-known one. And you know, there's some research that suggests that 1 in 50 people have it, which is like crazy amount, about 154 million people on this planet. And I thought it was very interesting. The other day, I met up with another derma buddy who's on their derma journey, and we had a lovely discussion, and we were in a really busy train station, and we were looking down at all these people, probably about 1,000 there, and it was like really, really interesting to know that there was probably like, you know, in your mind's eye, you're trying to like highlight people who it could be anyone, but it was really, really cool and comforting to know that there's probably about, you know, 10, 15 people in this large, busy, crowded train station that are maybe secretly going through it as well. And we are creating this community that is just a total game changer. We're changing things by being open, by talking about it, by saying, you know what, I felt so isolated, I felt so alone, I felt like just out of control, but you know what, just knowing that other people are going through the same thing too, and we can bounce off what we've done and new methods we could try and recommendations and advice. Like that's how we're gonna get through this. We are gonna get through this. Don't feel like you are, you know, on this road to forever hating yourself and hating what you're doing and feeling like you'll never be able to be normal, never be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist, but normal, you right now, what you're doing, this is your normal. So that's why you can't be whatever normal you want to be, because this is your normal. And so if you try and stop your normal, your body's going to be like, what do you want me to do? I already know this, I can't do that. So take it easy, up your self-care, look after yourself, and I hope that these tips work. They've definitely helped me, and what I want to say before I go is try not to tell yourself you need to stop doing this. Dermatillomania is not something that you need to fix or stop. If you aim to manage it, that pressure goes straight away, because you're allowing it to be part of your journey and your derma journey. They can go side by side, you know. I know that my derma journey, I have fought against it for 13 years, and it's only really this year, my 14th year of having it, that I'm really allowing it, and I'm like, you know what, I think I'm pretty awesome. I do love myself, and not in like a selfish kind of way. Like, I am starting to implement the things that I never really thought I could do. I never really thought I was like worthy enough or deserving of my own love. And it's only really now, through embracing dermatillomania and understanding myself and how it's come about, and that I need time to grow into the woman that I'm becoming. I look forward to doing some more videos. Do hit that subscribe button if you would like, and do comment below if there's anything you want me to talk about in future videos. Yeah, I hope you have a great day, whatever you're doing. I will speak soon. Love you. Bye.